Imagine yourself in a world where the only boundaries that exist are the ones you choose to acknowledge. Imagine approaching every dream with absolute certainty, undaunted by fear, limited resources, or the doubts of others. That's the mindset that rockets ordinary people to billionaire status. In this video, we'll explore how to break through the mental walls that hold you back, adopt a nothing is impossible mentality, and reshape your reality into a playground of limitless opportunity. Welcome to Thinking Without Limits, the billionaire's perspective. Buckle up, because by the end of this, you might just start believing you can conquer the impossible. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a mindset that has fueled groundbreaking ventures, transformed entire industries, and built legendary fortunes. I'm talking about thinking without limits, the way billionaires view the world. Whether you aspire to launch your own business, disrupt a stagnant market, or simply live life on your own terms, this mindset can accelerate every dream you've ever had. In this extended deep dive, we'll dissect how industry titans like Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and more continuously push beyond boundaries most of us didn't even realize we'd set for ourselves. Grab a notepad, open your mind, and prepare to stretch your imagination to new horizons. The first hallmark of a limitless thinker is the ability to see impossible as nothing more than an outdated label. Let's consider Elon Musk's journey. When Musk declared his intention to land and reuse rockets, many experts insisted it was unachievable. They said rockets are built for single use. That's how it's always been. Yet Musk refused to accept that premise. He viewed established norms as bendable or breakable guidelines, not absolute truths. Today, SpaceX lands rockets on autonomous drone ships, a feat that once seemed like pure science fiction. So what can we learn from this? The big takeaway is that most boundaries are illusions, formed by historical precedent or limited collective experience. If you come across a supposed limit, challenge it. Ask yourself, who decided it was impossible in the first place and why? Could something have changed since that decision was made? That simple inquiry often reveals fresh angles others have overlooked. Next up, billionaires set audacious, even outrageous goals. Goals so big they naturally attract attention, resources, and top-tier talent. Jeff Bezos didn't casually start an online bookstore. He envisioned building the ultimate everything store. That blueprint wasn't timid, it was downright colossal. But that's the magic. Huge visions serve as magnets for opportunity. When you aim for a 10% improvement, you might only need minimal effort and standard thinking. When you target a 10x improvement, you're forced to leave behind conventional methods. Suddenly, you're brainstorming creative solutions, forging strategic partnerships, or adopting technologies that others haven't even touched yet. This is exactly how industry disruptors leapfrog competition. Practical tip: instead of planning incremental improvements, set a goal that makes you slightly uncomfortable, or even a little scared, because you have no roadmap. That fear is actually the spark that invites innovation. Billionaires don't take random gambles, they embrace strategic risks. Let's talk about Richard Branson. He saw an opportunity to launch Virgin Atlantic in a moment of frustration. His flight was canceled, and he decided to charter a plane. Was it risky? Absolutely. But he did his homework quickly. How much would the charter cost? How many seats did he need to fill? And could he break even? He took a leap based on rapid, albeit calculated, information gathering. This blend of audacity and calculated steps is pivotal. They don't let fear of the unknown paralyze them. Instead, they reframe risk as a series of educated experiments. Even if a venture fails, the lessons gleaned often catapult them forward in the next initiative. Consider your own life. Is there a risk you've been hesitating on? Could you frame it as a pilot run, a small test, or a limited rollout first? By doing so, you balance big ambition with practical caution. Failure is not a dead end, it's a feedback mechanism, a concept repeated by nearly every billionaire who's graced a TED Talk or commencement stage. Look at Sarah Blakely, founder of Spanx. She frequently cites how her father encouraged her to share her failures at the dinner table and even congratulated her for them, because each failure meant she was pushing past comfort zones. In the billionaire's perspective, every setback is akin to data collection. If a rocket explodes, if a product flops, if an investment tanks, the immediate question isn't why me, but what can this teach me? They dissect mistakes, refine their approach, and systematically eliminate what doesn't work. That systematic elimination of errors paves the way for the eventual breakthroughs that the rest of the world sees as miracles. Here's the mental shift. View failure not as an indictment of your abilities, but as a natural part of growth. Rewire your brain to see it as an experiment with results rather than a reflection of your worth. Another non-negotiable element in the billionaire mindset is unquenchable curiosity. Warren Buffett still spends a large chunk of his day reading and thinking, like 80% of his day, by his own account. Bill Gates similarly reads about 50 books a year to expand his mental library. This thirst for knowledge isn't just about collecting trivia, it's about connecting dots others haven't connected yet. Billionaires remain students for life. They explore fields outside their core domain, reading up on science, history, philosophy, technology, because they know the most disruptive ideas often come from cross-pollination. Steve Jobs famously audited calligraphy classes, which later inspired the elegant typography features that Apple introduced to the personal computing world. If you want to adopt this approach, carve out daily or weekly study time. Dive into books, articles, or videos about topics you're unfamiliar with. Ask challenging questions. Jot down insights. You never know which random fact might spark the next big idea. Billionaires didn't get where they are by simply following the crowd. They question everything. Oprah Winfrey revolutionized daytime talk shows by integrating empathy, vulnerability, and deeper conversation, breaking away from the sensational or purely comedic formats that were the norm. She rewrote the rules because she saw an unmet need for real human connection in media. Whenever you're presented with a standard approach, whether it's in your career, relationships, or personal projects, ask yourself, is this the best way or just the usual way? The world is overflowing with standard solutions. The biggest breakthroughs lie in the next question. What if there's a better solution no one's tried yet? That one question can lead you down a path to innovation that separates you from the pack. There's a reason you'll see successful individuals forming or joining tight networks, mastermind groups, think tanks, or simply curated friendships. Ideas are contagious. If you hang out with people who believe in infinite potential and think big, you naturally absorb that energy. Conversely, if you're surrounded by naysayers who constantly see only problems, guess what your worldview will become? Take Bill Gates and Warren Buffett's legendary friendship. They share ideas, challenge each other's viewpoints, and refine their strategies. The synergy in this partnership not only benefits their business ventures, but also their philanthropic efforts. So how do you cultivate a network of big thinkers? Start by seeking communities, online or offline, where ambitious people gather. Attend conferences, join mastermind groups, or reach out to mentors who think bigger than you do. Over time, you'll find yourself feeding off that momentum and raising your own internal bar. It's not just about the money. Billionaires often tie their grand visions to a purpose larger than themselves. Think about Google's motto: organize the world's information and make it universally accessible. Or Tesla's mission: accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. These statements aren't just for show. They galvanize employees, partners, and customers alike. A sense of higher purpose acts like rocket fuel. When challenges inevitably arise, and they will, purpose reminds you why you started in the first place. It reignites your drive. If your aspirations revolve solely around personal gain, you might lose steam once the obstacles become colossal. But if your cause transcends profit, if it's about improving a community, solving a global problem, or advancing human knowledge, your motivation morphs into a near infinite resource. Ask yourself, how can I connect my ambition to something that benefits more than just me? This shift from self-centric to world-centric often triggers a level of resilience you didn't know you possessed. Thinking big is just the starting point. Action transforms daydreams into tangible reality. Billionaires treat consistency like a sacred ritual. They implement daily, weekly, or monthly benchmarks, something to keep them on track. Mark Cuban, for instance, talks about spending countless hours reading up on technology trends to stay ahead in potential investments. He doesn't do it sporadically, he does it consistently. Discipline doesn't have to be grueling. It just needs to be methodical and non-negotiable. Whether it's a set morning routine, a weekly review of your goals, or a monthly strategy session to reflect on key metrics, whatever system you build, guard it fiercely. Remember, a big vision without the discipline to keep inching forward is like a Ferrari without gas. It might look good, but it's not going anywhere. Billionaires don't spend much time pointing fingers when things go wrong. They assume the role of absolute accountability. If you're in charge of your startup and it fails, it's on you, even if market conditions were tough or a partner didn't deliver. This mindset is not about self-blame. It's about recognizing where the real power to change outcomes lies, within you. When you own the results 100%, you give yourself the authority to fix issues, pivot strategies, and adopt new mindsets. It's the difference between being a spectator in your own life and being the driver of your destiny. So, the next time a setback occurs, maybe a missed deadline or a deal that falls through, don't waste energy blaming the external. Ask, how did my decisions or assumptions contribute? What can I control next time? That's how you evolve and how the billionaire mentality solidifies. In a world that shifts daily, technologically, economically, socially, billionaires excel at staying adaptable. They pivot quickly when new data or trends emerge. Netflix began as a DVD by mail service, then transitioned to streaming, and later began producing original content. Each pivot required letting go of a past model that was working in favor of a new model that could work better in the future. To think without limits, adopt a mind that's always in beta mode. Constantly test, refine, and be willing to reinvent aspects of your life or business if the circumstances call for it. Remember, adaptability isn't a sign of weakness or indecision. It's the hallmark of resilience and forward momentum. Billionaires often possess an understated superpower, the ability to tell a compelling story. Whether pitching investors, recruiting top talent, or rallying an audience, they paint a vivid picture of the future they aim to create. Steve Jobs was legendary for this. His product launches weren't just technical demonstrations, but theatrical unveilings of a visionary world. Storytelling is how big thinkers inspire others to see what they see, especially when that future doesn't yet exist. If you can articulate your vision passionately and persuasively, you'll find allies, investors, and customers coming out of the woodwork to help you manifest it. So practice telling your story, why your goal matters, how it solves a problem, and why others should care. Modern billionaires leverage technology and global networks in a way previous generations never could. Think about how Alibaba's Jack Ma recognized the power of e-commerce in a digitalizing world. He believed China's small businesses could tap into global markets through the internet, even when that concept was scarcely understood in his region. The lesson? Stay alert to macro trends: automation, artificial intelligence, blockchain, sustainable energy, new distribution platforms. Early adoption or strategic integration of these trends can catapult you ahead of competitors. If your mindset is free from limits, you won't fear exploring how these innovations might completely change your industry. Billionaires rarely think in terms of mere months or even just a few years. They often think in decades or generations. Warren Buffett's entire investment philosophy is rooted in long-term gains. He famously said his favorite holding period for a stock is forever. Similarly, Elon Musk's timeline for colonizing Mars isn't measured in quarters, but in multi-decade visions. If you want to play at that level, train yourself to adopt a long horizon. Short-term thinking can yield quick wins, but monumental achievements require patience. This is especially relevant in personal development. If you're only focused on immediate gratification, you might abandon a potentially life-changing goal the moment it gets tough. But if you commit for the long haul, like training for a marathon, your mindset shifts to unstoppable. By now, you might be wondering, okay, I get it. Think big, bust limits, take calculated risks. But how do I do that day to day? Let's break down a comprehensive approach. 1. Self-audit your limits. Write a list of your biggest goals. Next to each goal, jot down the limit you think is stopping you. It could be money, time, skills, connections. Now question each one. Is this a real limit or just a perceived boundary I've accepted? 2. Set 10x goals. Incremental goals keep you where you are. Aim for results so big you don't yet know how to achieve them. This forces you into creative problem solving. 3. Create a learning ecosystem schedule. Reading time daily, subscribe to podcasts on subjects you barely know, attend events that challenge your worldview. The more diverse your learning, the broader your mental toolkit. 4. Design small experiments instead of going all in blindly. Run micro experiments. Test your product in a tiny market, gather feedback, refine. This approach balances risk with discovery. 5. Build your tribe, seek out people who think bigger than you. Join mastermind groups, online forums, or local entrepreneur meetups. Over time, you'll internalize their expansive thought processes. 6. Fail quick, fail forward. If a strategy isn't working, iterate rapidly. Ask what can be learned, adapt, and move on. Don't linger in regret, it just stalls your momentum. 7. Pair purpose with profit. Align your lofty ambitions with a cause larger than yourself. Whether it's environmental sustainability, social impact, or community development, a genuine mission keeps you motivated and draws others to your cause. 8. Schedule reflection and adaptation at least once a month. Spend a few hours reviewing your progress. What's working? What's stalled? Adjust your plan. This systematic approach to reflection keeps you agile. Sometimes seeing real examples cements the lesson. Oprah Winfrey started out facing enormous social and personal challenges, yet built a media empire around empathy and empowerment. She redefined what talk shows could be, and eventually launched her own network. Jack Ma repeatedly failed school exams and was rejected by dozens of employers, including KFC, before founding Alibaba. His mindset: if I can't find an opportunity, I'll create one for myself and for countless others. Sarah Blakely, who'd never studied fashion or business, turned $5,000 in savings into a multi-billion-dollar shapewear phenomenon, Spanx, by consistently innovating and staying fiercely curious. These stories highlight that the so-called special sauce is often just unstoppable belief, leveraged with consistent action and unending creativity. People often say, "I don't have enough money," or "I don't have the right connections." Yet we see entrepreneurs who started with virtually nothing, sometimes in their garages, sometimes after being fired, rising to extraordinary levels of success. If you hold on to these excuses, you'll never push your boundaries. Reframe them. 1. I don't have enough money. I can bootstrap creatively, seek angel investments, or partner with someone who has capital. 2. I don't have the right connections. I can attend industry events, volunteer, or use social media to reach out to potential mentors and collaborators. Billionaires often start by solving a problem or delivering value in a unique way, which creates the money and connections they need along the journey. You might ask, isn't there a risk of being delusional if I think without limits? The difference lies in how you handle data. Limitless thinking means you never reject a possibility out of fear or convention, but you still gather facts and test assumptions. Dream big, but maintain honest self-awareness. Billionaires ground their vision with analytics. Whether it's metrics, prototypes, feedback loops, or thorough market research, they ensure that each bold step is informed by real-world insights. Think of it as mixing imagination with pragmatism, like having your head in the clouds but your feet planted firmly on the ground. Limitless thinking also demands a certain level of self-confidence, but this confidence isn't reckless bravado. It's built on a foundation of preparation, expertise, and a proven track record of smaller wins. Confidence is earned, not magically bestowed. When Oprah Winfrey stepped onto the national stage, she'd already honed her interviewing skills at local TV stations for years. When Jeff Bezos pitched Amazon to early investors, he had pages of spreadsheets and a thorough understanding of e-commerce trends. The more you do the work, learning, practicing, launching small tests, the more your confidence becomes unshakable, because it's rooted in experience rather than wishful thinking. If you've made it this far, congratulations. You're clearly serious about leveling up your mindset. Remember, thinking without limits isn't an overnight switch. It's a continuous journey of unlearning old narratives, embracing possibilities, and challenging your comfort zones. As you begin to rewire your thought patterns, you might be surprised at how quickly your external world adapts to match your new internal beliefs. Each day, remind yourself that the mind has infinite capacity for creativity, innovation, and resilience. You are far more powerful than you give yourself credit for. The greatest leaps in human progress have come from individuals who refuse to accept impossible as a legitimate status quo. So why not join them? Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into thinking without limits, the billionaire's perspective. If you found this video insightful or empowering, don't forget to hit that like button to let us know. And if you're hungry for more strategies on wealth building, personal development, and unstoppable mindset hacks, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Drop a comment below what's one impossible goal you're now ready to tackle. I'd love to see how you plan to break through your old limits and step into a future that's bigger, bolder, and brighter than you ever imagined. Until next time, remember, The biggest boundaries are the ones you create in your own mind. Challenge them, and you'll discover there's a limitless horizon waiting just beyond.